Hello, everybody. It's Canadian Yorker here. So, for today, I wanted to talk to you guys about the NFL season, the very first game of the NFL season. And we're going to be talking about the New York Jets playing against the Baltimore Ravens. The score was 24-9. Baltimore scored 24 points. The New York Jets scored 9 points. We are 0 and 1 at home, and Baltimore is 1 and 0 on the road. Now, Baltimore is a really good team. They've been a really good team because they have a really good quarterback and a really good play style. Um, just want to go over some of the stats with you guys. We are a should I say we're not in the middle of a rebuilding phase, but we're going through the motions. The New York Jets are going through the motions to figure out where in the world we are going with our team and where we want to take ourselves. And then, as I thought to myself that some of the things that I noticed about this New York Jets team is that this New York Jets team is really struggling to find itself, and it's really trying to understand where does it go from here. We really picked up some really good acquisitions in some three rookies. We picked up, I think it was my last video I did. We picked up rookies on the offensive side and on the defensive side of the ball. And acquiring these rookies has really been a boon for offense and for defense. Um, now, as I noticed before, as in the previous, and I know that last season that um, our team last season was absolutely terrible. I think we believe we went 4-12 in the season, or 5-12 in the season, if I'm not mistaken. In the previous season before that, it was 4-12 or 5-12 in the season. We were just god awful. We can't even win the games that we're supposed to win, and we're just absolutely terrible. So, without further ado, just wanted to go over some of these stats here. Um, so, according to we had our game leaders, Lamar Jackson threw 17 of 30. 17 of 30. He had 213 yards, um, and three touchdowns and one interception. Um, our rushing yards, we had one of the players on the Baltimore side of the ball, Kenyon Drake. He absolutely killed us in this game. According to some of his stats, he did 11 carries and ran for 31 yards. And the receiving yards, we had the it was this this one wide receiver named Rashad Bateman. Um, he had two receptions, 59 yards, and one touchdown. So that we got one of those touchdowns, passing touchdowns from this Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had three touchdowns and one interception, and so you know Lamar Jackson absolutely killed us in this game. But on our side of the ball, we actually had better stats compared to the Ravens. The Ravens' total stats was um, the Ravens had 274 yards total. We had they had one turnover, the Ravens, and they had 13 first downs. Um, the possession of their ball that they had was about 27 minutes of possession. So they were doing pretty well with a lot less. They were doing a lot more damage than us, with a lot less than we were actually doing damage. And one of the things that we had that we had going for us was that we had the ability to stop their run game, but we had struggled with stopping the I think we stopped the passing game also. We got one interception on Lamar Jackson, and that's a positive. So we're talking about Joe Flacco now and about our team stats. Joe Flacco was 34 of 59. He had 307 yards, one touchdown, and one interception. Our rushing yards was from um, our running back Michael Carter. He did. He had 60 yards total and no touchdowns and 10 carries. That's what he had in this game. So Michael Carter really was a big impact for us on the offensive side, and that's where as a running back, and for our wide receiver we had Corey Davis. He had 77 yards, no touchdowns, and so as I said before, we're really trying to find ourselves for some reason, and what I noticed is that in the first half, in the first and second quarter, you know, we really made an impact in the first and second quarter. We started to strike. We struck while the iron was hot. We came out, but we didn't have the same fire throughout the whole game because we're playing a really tough opponent. And I never really expected us to win this game because it's just our first. People are still trying to find themselves on this team, trying to find out what their roles are, where they're going, and the other aspects of football of the game, and so everybody has a place that they have to do. And football it's all about teamwork, bringing things together, and that's what I noticed. So so this team, I didn't really expect us to do well against the Baltimore Ravens, but we absolutely got swept, and just we got swept by them in the second half of the game because we just lost ourselves in the second half of the game. But the first half of the game, I think we had our head on straight. We were doing really well against them until Lamar Jackson threw his two interceptions, his three touchdowns, and that just sealed the deal for us in this game. So it's really a learning process. It's only the first game of the season, and we really get to see how our rookies do in this game, and we also see how they do on the offensive side and on the defensive side of the game. So there's a lot to unpack about this. Lamar Jackson, he got 3 touchdowns. Um, Joe Flacco played in this game, and he was he he tried to. I could tell that we didn't have any sacks in this game, thank goodness, but we did have an interception in this game, and there was a stagnant offense. Of course, we had a stagnant offense, and that was irritating to see. It's so irritating as a Jets fan to see, that the offense is struggling to make things happen, and on the defensive sides of the ball, we were still struggling on the defensive side, but we were able to get the stops and limit the Ravens to in the ability to run the ball. And that's one thing that the Ravens are really good at. The Ravens are really good at running the ball. But we can't count out Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson is good at passing the ball also. He's one of a kind. He's like Steve Young and Cam Newton. Like one of those dynamic quarterbacks that are really good, that really agile and elusive, but are also really good throwers and interceptors. Now, Lamar Jackson has never won an NFL championship yet. He hasn't won one yet. But he is one of those guys that we really have to watch out for because he can do both sides. He can do damage on both sides of the ball, in passing and in throwing, and in running and in throwing, and in passing yards. So you have to really watch out for that. You have to be able to contain him in the best way you can possible. And I can't believe it. In the very first game, in the very first minutes of the first quarter, Joe Flacco throws an interception in the very first minutes of that leads to a Ravens touchdown in the very first quarter. What in the world? What happened with that in that aspect? What in the world happened with that? That's not a smart thing to do in the very first game of the season, right when you have to, opportunity to go up the field and score, get a first down or second down. Instead of throwing the ball, that's a big mistake. Joe Flacco should get better at reading the defense. I mean, he's an elite quarterback. The man has 2 Super Bowl rings under his belt with the Baltimore Ravens. And it is, as an experienced quarterback himself, he should be able to read the defense and see what they're going to do. Flacco is starting in place of Zach Wilson, who's out of because he's out until week 4 because he's recovering from a bone bruise and torn meniscus. So the Jets have to find a way to crack the code of running an offense, of actually getting points on the board, scoring down there, scoring on the field, and making a difference. We have to really find our way and crack this code, because we're not getting ourselves into a rhythm. And Joe Flacco said it himself. We just never really got into a rhythm, Flacco said, and got any energy going. This is from ESPN article where Joe Flacco said it himself. We have to be there to really get themselves into a rhythm. But what I'm really thinking about is people have to be really better at making smart decisions and taking their time, making right decisions, executing those decisions, and following through on them, and getting feedback on them. And so, it's going to be a long season for the New York Jets. As a Jets fan, I'll tell you that. It's going to be a long season. And we have a lot to learn, a lot to see, a lot to improve on. It's going to be a long season. This season, I don't really see the Jets improving to where we need to be. I see us winning about 5, 6 or 7 games this season. That's what I'm setting it at, 6 or 7 games. If we actually get past the 4-game losing skid that we always at, that will be an improvement. But I don't really see us getting very far this season, because we're still a young team, we're still growing, and there's a lot to unpack there. So we really have to get better at offense, on the offensive side of the ball, with scoring touchdowns, getting first downs. What's so frustrating to see is seeing that we're not even able to score to make first downs on third down conversions. We can't get first down conversions on third down conversions. We're just flipping the ball constantly. Every time we try to get past that point, we just cannot get past that brick wall of third down conversions and fourth down conversions. That is so frustrating to see. We need to get past that. We need to get over it. We need to move past that. Green Gang Nation, we need to move past that. I'm so tired of seeing that happen. We need to address those issues and make adjustments. That's important. Coaching has to really improve. Everything has to improve. Everything from an overall standpoint. And that's all I have to say. We'll see you in the next game. We're going to see how things go in game 2. We're going to be playing the Browns, and we're going to see how this progress continues. So I hope to see you in the next video. Green Gang Nation, stand up, and we'll talk again later.